struggle for independence had been the struggle for independence had
Hello and welcome to Panorama from NTA Network Center, Jos. Plateau government marks National Tuberculosis Testing Week with sensitization in rural communities. Team of researchers from the National Root Crops Research Institute in Plateau State on potato blight. Key players in the health sector advocate exclusive breastfeeding for healthy growth of children. I am Felicia Dalio Samaila. Don't forget, you can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and on YouTube channel NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page NTA Network News, Twitter at NTA News Now, and Instagram NTA Network for updates. The federal government is collaborating with Sun Africa, a United States-based renewable energy and infrastructure company, towards delivering 1,000 megawatts of solar power generation plants in multiple locations across Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari, who received the team, said the rapid integration of solar power into the country's energy mix is a critical pathway towards increasing access to electricity by the underserved as well as unserved communities. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
The Sun Africa's unique offering under the Biden administration's Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment Platform is not only to provide utility-scale solar solutions, but also infrastructure that will impact both generation, transmission, and distribution of power across Nigeria. The government-to-government backed initiative between Nigeria and the United States, the project to be financed through the U.S. Exim Bank, is in tandem with the federal government's commitment towards generating 30,000 megawatts of power by 2030, with 30% from renewable sources.
The Biden administration is very keen to engage with Nigeria. It's a giant of Africa. It is a natural ally for the United States under the PGII platform. There's $600 billion available in total. So you can imagine what is available for Nigeria moving forward.
Nigeria needs this. U.S. also was absent from energy markets in Africa for many years. This is no longer the case. We come as a partners, not to sell any technology, but to partner with, first of all, Niger Delta Power Holding Corporation, to work hand in hand and create something that is immediately needed for Nigeria.
The solar solutions they are proposing shall be utility scale. This means that it can be integrated to the grid, which will add to our base load. I hope this will result in a more resilient power sector providing energy security.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who appreciated the U.S. consortium for its interest in Nigeria's power sector, restated the commitment of his administration towards improving energy access, creating jobs, and enhancing the nation's industrial concerns.
Government has embarked on several reforms aimed at revitalizing Nigeria's energy sector. Our energy transition plan includes the rapid integration of solar power into our energy mix, aimed at improving Nigeria's energy access to unserved communities across the country.
Some of the reforms include the Power Sector Recovery Program, the Nigeria Electrification Program, aimed at enhancing energy access to remote communities, and the Presidential Power Initiative with Siemens, meant to achieve an end-to-end alignment across the electricity value chain.
Initiatives like these will go a long way in developing local capacity through technology transfer and relieving transmission constraints through the generation and the distribution of electricity in the local distribution companies franchise area, making offtake easier. I pleased to note the technology transfer content embedded in this initiative, as well as the employment generation potentials.
The Ministers of Finance and Power, President Buhari said, are under instruction to ensure that the project is realized towards achieving net zero emission by 2050, even as he looks forward to receiving regular updates on significant milestones in respect of the Sun Africa project in Nigeria. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The deployment of technology has been identified as critical to mitigating the country's socio-economic and security challenges. This, experts say, can only be achieved through advanced technology acquisition and domestication. Lydia Sampson reports that the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, has inaugurated 3 critical committees to fast-track Nigeria-Czech Republic technology transfer. Her reports.
Sum of 250 million Czech koruna, which is approximately $10.5 million, has been allocated for research by the government of the Czech Republic for collaboration and bridging the technology gap between Nigeria and the advanced countries of the West. The fund is also meant to facilitate Nigeria's transition to a manufacturing economy. The Delta II program is uniquely designed to catalyze technology transfer and mobilize positive interventions and investment among private sectors and relevant stakeholders in Nigeria and Czech Republic for technology advancement. Vice Chairman, Presidential Implementation Committee on Technology Transfer and Information Exchange between Nigeria and Czech Republic, and the Chief Executive of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, Professor Mohammed Sani Haruna, said priority areas of the MOU include biotechnology and pharmaceutical research, agricultural and food technology, plus mining industrial development are part of economic diversification focus of the present administration. With the codename Delta II, the program is the cooperation model of Technology Agency of Czech Republic running from 2020 to 2025.
The unique component of this bilateral relationship is the integration of private sector, so that whichever technology we are prospecting, whichever research we are involved in, there is a private sector or a company that is participating, ready to take the products or the output to the market.
We have the theoretical, knowledge and analysis, but at the implementation stage, it becomes a problem. Now, this is a real opportunity to really make the difference.
In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
And to education, state government-owned tertiary institutions benefiting from TET Fund but have not been given account of subventions allocated to them have been given 3 weeks to do so. Chairman House Committee on Tertiary Education and Services, Aminu Suleiman Goro, said this during the committee's oversight to TET Fund. John Yaku has details.
Of a legislative oversight is to ensure probity and accountability of public expenditure. This precisely is the reason the committee is giving this order.
We have a responsibility to ensure that all funds collected from the federal government are deployed for the purposes for which they are provided. And we cannot be certain if institutions are refusing to respond to requests, legitimate requests from the committees. And to that extent, through the fund, we have given them a last warning to respond. Otherwise, we may consider severe consequences for such defaulting institutions.
We are going to communicate to them as long as public funds are being used and they are TET fund projects. These are the committees that oversight us. They have access, they should have access to those projects to inspect them and have access to information about how they are managed.
The Executive Secretary of TET Fund, Sonny Echono, while appreciating the National Assembly for their cooperation, told the committee that there was a drop in remittance collection in 2021, but with the promise by the federal government to increase its funding, this will improve quality of education as he promises an open, independent evaluation of activities of TED Fund. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
Away from education, breast milk is said to play a vital role in the nutritional needs and early development of a baby. As such, every 1st to 7th August is set aside annually to create awareness on the need for the 6 months exclusive breastfeeding of babies. The report. Step up for breastfeeding, educate and support is the theme for this year's celebration. It is aimed at encouraging, educating and galvanizing support for nursing mothers to adequately breastfeed their babies, as breast milk is said to play a very important role in the early development of a baby.
Mothers need to be encouraged at their antenatal clinic that breast milk is the best food for the baby for the first days of the baby's life. So 2 years and beyond, the baby can go on breastfeeding.
The place of exclusive breastfeeding can never be emphasized. The first 6 months, the mother is expected to give feed on demand.
As part of events marking Breastfeeding Week, some mothers were rewarded by the Jos University Teaching Hospital, JUT, having met the criteria for exclusive breastfeeding. Baby Odera Eze, who weighs 5.1 kg at 1 month, 2 weeks, emerged winner. Second position went to baby Daniel Agwom, weighing 8.95 kg at 4 months, 2 weeks, and baby Adonais Eche as third position, weighing 7.75 kg at 4 months.
And the name of our winner for the day is Adera Eze.
It's because I know the benefit of exclusive breastfeeding, and I feed on demand.
I'm the most happiest person today. The secret behind this is antenatal. When the child is crying, immediately after, every second is to breastfeeding.
Head of Department Nursing and the acting chairman Medical Advisory Committee both applauded the nursing mothers for paying attention to the nutritional needs of their babies.
The babies I can see now, they are looking very good. Breastfeeding is very important, it's very necessary. It helps the baby. It will develop their mental intelligence and everything.
We salute your courage. We salute what you have done for us and for the children to come.
Lactating mothers were further advised to avoid alcohol, caffeine, and tobacco, and consume milk-producing food like pap, soya milk, and legumes, among others. In Jos. Plateau State Ministry of Health, in conjunction with stakeholders, has taken a TB motorized campaign to some parts of Jos North local government area to create awareness about TB as part of activities marking National Testing Week taking place nationwide. Bilkis Unuhu reports.
The TB Testing Week campaign in Plateau State aims to create awareness as part of efforts to increase TB case findings among people who are vulnerable to developing active TB and provide preventive treatment and proactively prevent further transmission of TB in the communities.
And also to determine if they have the symptoms, which is cough of more than 2 weeks duration, weight loss, night sweats, and also low-grade fever. So people with these symptoms are the people we screen for tuberculosis and enroll on treatment. So we move along with a vehicle that has a public address system, and then we create awareness in that manner while the screeners are stationed at a point.
For the Ministry of Health, the National TB Testing Week would afford them the opportunity to improve on case finding, ensure more screening for TB, provide treatment to those infected, and in the long run, ensure the reduction of TB cases. The turnout is highly impressive as people are making frantic efforts to get tested. In Jos, for reading.
We have in the studio Program Manager, Plateau State Tuberculosis and Leprosy Control, Dr. Maxwell Joseph Jiblik. Sir, you're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's begin this way. Sir, tuberculosis is one of the deadly diseases. Briefly shed more light on the situation in Plateau State.
In Plateau, normally we report cases quarterly.
Okay.
So I'll give for quarter 1 and quarter 2.
Okay, go ahead.
In quarter 1, we have about 881 cases. Then in quarter 2, 963. That brings a total of 1,844. And that is huge.
Sure, it is.
Given the fact that one patient infects 10 to 15 people in a year, that's why this disease has been with us from time immemorial, and it has refused to go. So that's why we're going into the communities to look for the diseases, because if you treat, you break the chain of transmission.
Okay, now on Wednesday this week, you marked National Testing Week in Basa local government area. What necessitated that awareness?
Okay, we have partners that we work with.
Okay.
The ones that went to Basa was KNCV, is one of our partners. Then the one in Just North is Breakthrough Action Nigeria. And they help us, KNCV helps us in outreaches, Breakthrough Action in motorized campaigns to look for TB cases in the community. As I've said, one patient infects about 10 to 15. So if you don't treat, if you don't identify and treat, it keeps spreading in the community. And with that, we will not see the back of TB. But with this will help a lot for us to try and end TB.
Okay, apart from those measures for the awareness, what other steps are you taking to reduce the level of infection in the state? Okay. It's quite high, that you stated earlier. So what other measures are you taking to reduce it?
Let me give a few.
Okay.
Like at birth, give children BCG vaccine. That's a measure. Then the treatment, the medication itself will reduce the number of transmission infections and then transmission. Then those diagnosed, we do what we call contact tracing to trace close contacts of whoever is diagnosed, and then if it's negative, we place him on preventive therapy. Then if it's positive, we also treat and then trace too. Then we are increasing the number of sites that give TB medication. That's DOTS expansion. That's what we call DOTS expansion. We are increasing that too. Then the media awareness is very important for us to give information, because what you don't know, you won't be able to do anything about it. Then infection control, like in our health facilities, we give health talk to people about how to prevent the infection. If you're coughing, you use handkerchief, face mask, or you cough into your bent elbow. Then in the hospitals, we do what we call triaging. That's anybody that is observed to be coughing is quickly fast-tracked to see the doctor, so that he doesn't stay with other people and then spread the illness to them. Then ventilation, we encourage ventilation too, because when there's enough ventilation in a congregate setting, that is where people are gathered, it tends to blow the organism out, and sunlight kills it too. So with enough ventilation, the concentration in the confined space will be reduced. And then we also have health financing and domestic resource mobilization. And the government has approved, has given us counterpart funding. We bought motorcycles for our TV supervisors to aid their movement in finding the cases.
Okay. Quite interesting. Now, what further advice will you give the public?
Go out and get tested. It's very, very important for us.
Okay.
Important because the treatment is free, the test is free. So everybody should go out. If you're coughing, more than 2 weeks. But if our HIV patients, whatever the duration of the cough, we presume them to be TB cases, then we test them and then give them medication, which is free.
Okay, thank you very much. The program manager, Plateau State Tuberculosis and Leprosy Control, Dr. Maxwell Joseph Jublik. Thank you so much for coming on Panorama.
Thanks.
Panorama will continue after the break. Stay with us.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
Thank you for staying tuned. Governor Ben Ayade is commending President Muhammadu Buhari administration for striving to meet its constitutional obligations through various social investment interventions in Nigeria. The governor stated this when he received in audience the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, who was in Calabar to flag off grants distribution to vulnerable groups. Paul Abel reports.
Who outlined other social intervention programs by the federal government, states that her visit is to flag off the distribution of 20,000 naira each to over 3,000 vulnerable beneficiaries in Cross River State.
This is a program geared towards poverty reduction, social protection, and social inclusion of our citizens. This is a one-off grant to our vulnerable citizens, which we give every year. The 20,000 naira one-off grant to this very a special group of people.
The primary purpose of government is the welfare of our citizens. So welfare, security is the primary purpose. And God has ordained you to fulfill a very critical purpose and to manifest our concern in practical impact.
The minister, who was also commended for effectively implementing President Buhari's policy on economic empowerment, is spearheading the flag off in different states across the nation. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development will continue to collaborate with those in the agricultural space to ensure food security in the country, just as the ministry promises to ensure the country maintains its position as one of the 5 ranked nations in the World Food Production Index. This is coming from Mahmoud Mohamed Abubakar, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, while speaking on the strides and achievements in the Nigerian agricultural sector. State House correspondent Jide Onifadi reports.
The commitment to developing agriculture by government is not in doubt, as government both at the national and subnational levels see agriculture as antidote to poverty, food insecurity and unemployment. Featuring at the weekly executive briefing of press at the presidential villa in Abuja on the achievements of the administration, Mahmoud Mohamed Abubakar, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, says even though there were interruptions as a result of COVID-19, Ukraine-Russia war and security challenges in some parts of the country, all posing threats to the agricultural sector, the short-term interventions and the long-term plans of the federal government are yielding desired result.
If not because Nigeria is so committed and resilient, the COVID, the insecurity, and now Russia and Ukraine would have dropped us below the belt.
The minister explains further some of the actions being taken to support players in the sector.
The 2081 number commodity aggregation cartage processing centers and storage facilities that were constructed, the total number of rural roads.
Minister Mahmoud says the country is also getting support from international authorities.
It is my hope that the recent agreement between Nigeria, UN, Turkey, Russia, and Ukraine on the export of grains through the Black Sea port of Ukraine will lead to a drop in the price of commodities in the international market, which will in turn ease the inflationary trend on the price of food in the country.
In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In a bid to address the challenge of potato blight, team researchers from the National Root Crops Research Institute, AMUDIKE, are in Plateau State to investigate and profile lasting solution on how to eradicate the disease. Farida Nelson reports.
The potato blight is posing some challenges to its growth and overall output. This development informed the visit of a team of researchers from the National Root Crop Research Institute, AMUDIKE, at a meeting with the Commissioner for Agriculture. It expressed concern over the alarming rate of potato blight in the state and promised to come up with a lasting solution after the research. The team called on farmers to apply all the measures suggested at the end of the research to eradicate the disease from their farms.
We have outlined measures, short-term measures, medium-term measures, and the long-term measures. So when we go around and see the outbreak itself, we interface with the stakeholders, the state, then before we now know where to start.
Plateau government says the state is concerned about the situation, hence the invitation of the team to know the cause of the challenge and profile possible solution.
There's still a lot of boost because of the potato body change support program that was brought in because of the excellences intervention that were initiating and our own intervention that led him to go and scale facility that kind of government. Meaning, 150 hectares were cultivated in Plateau State, specifically in 9 local government areas. 52,000 hectares were affected. 200 farmers were also affected.
The team later visited farms in Barkin Ladi, Mangu, and Bokos to ascertain the level of damage. In Jos, Farida Nelson, NTA News.
That has been Panorama today. Remember, be a star. Join NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. Many thanks for watching.
Sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's play together. Let's not fight in each other. Let us live apart. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigerian first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. How can we develop? We're always in crisis. Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's be together.
NTA, you can't beat the rich. Information is power. One's power. To feel powerful with the NTA News Mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app. Your access to real-time information.
This is the network service of the NTA.
It is more than 3.5 decades ago that a people living at their own pace came to limelight. Dwelling on top of the Alantiga mountain, with each of the communities having variations in dialect and culture, but they are all referred to as the Koma people. When More on the Move was mandated to follow the steps of those who met the least of the first to step up the mountain with a camera and revisit the Koma communities, a step over at the residence of a veteran NTA broadcaster was necessary because he saw the story of Koma when it breaks.
The story was that youth coppers discovered a hitherto unknown village called the Koma. As a staff of NTA in Yola, I needed to immediately put to lie this fallacy because they were not just discovered. We had always known about them. They had been known about since 1920s. The Koma were a factored tribe at that time. I even used to quip to people, I said, it was not a discovery because they've always been there. The example is when Mungo Park found the river, it was always there. But you cannot say Mungo Park discovered the Niger. It has always been there. So he didn't discover it. The people who lived by the Niger knew that the Niger River was always there. So the Koma people were not discovered by any Iskopa. They had always been known, they'd been factored in with regards to taxation. It's just that they had not been factored in with regards to development.
What attracts the so-called tourists and whoever is coming there is the news that these are people that are discovered. These are people that have remained originally, backward or something like, and whose culture remains untouched by whatever is the trapping of modernity. And therefore, if you want to connect to tradition, if you want to connect to the past, if you want to connect to ancient civilization, this is where to go as a tourist.
Koma people, they have a beautiful culture. When you are there, we have Koma Vomni, we have Damti, we have Vere, and we have Fulani. Some of these Koma Vomni and Koma Bear, they are up there in the mountains. So they have their own tradition. When you climb the mountain, you can be seeing the waterfalls and also their dressing. They have their own fashion occasional fashion that they will just use a tree. That is their own occasional fashion they use. So when you go there, there's a lot of things that you can see is attracting the tourists to come there.
Mayobelwa Tijada, revelations from the flowing rivers, rivers of milk and honey, smooth, rough, and series of difficult river crossings. From remote communities, curiosity. And a deaf, dumb, but lettered. Moving further, we experience a cordial relationship between a host and a parasite worthy of emulation. The guide, a bush wanderer, in tune with the realities of the 21st century.
After hours of driving through thick and thin with a lot of revelations about culture and nature, we arrived here at the Mayokila River. This is a major crossing to the land of the Koma people, and it is also an indication that we are getting closer to the Atlantika Mountains.
Mapio Tukaralahi, then Nasrao Koma, the sixth of the district head of the Koma people.
And finally, we're here, Nasrao Koma, as it is known. Three groups of the Koma people from the hilltop stroll down and make up this community, which is now like the biggest town as far as the Koma people are concerned. And in a jiffy, we will be trekking up there to meet the Bagi Koma. Those are the people that are still holding on to the culture of the Koma people.
Now the Atlantika Mountain looks within reach, but marks the end of the trip in a vehicle, a trek and a hop onto a motorcycle, then to the base of the Bagi Koma side of the Atlantika Mountain. It was already dusk, and the 3.5 hours climbing begins.
Here we are again climbing the Koma mountain, but this one is in the middle of the night. In fact, we're not halfway, but it is very tedious. If I want to compare it with the Sukru mountain that we climbed, definitely this one is more tedious because the stones here are scattered. You just have to struggle, and it is also in the night you have to struggle to find out where you put your first step and then the next step.
By dawn, the sunlight shines across the mountain, and a heavens of hidden beauty is unveiled. The people of Bagi Koma village were all eyes on our flying camera, which captures the shrinking village. The gods of the village kept away from the public during the famine season, so we were only allowed to stroll by the shrine. Their barns empty. This is the peak of the famine season. "36 years after their story came to limelight, the men in particular have abandoned the use of animal skin pans, with many denouncing the worship of the gods of the land."
The specter of civilization is a specter that is that comes with speed at times. First is wanting to let people get access to exposure, but the moment they get the access to exposure, there's a limit to which you can stop them. And that's just what is happening in Koma. Today, Koma people do not even require much campaign about modernism or modernization or about modern culture, because their own people have already been, they have within them people who are already converted to modern way of living, and they are the ones who are leading the road and changing the civilization pattern of their own people.
Among them, John, who is the head of the community. Contrarily, the women, especially the old, still use leaves and beautiful beads around their waist. Their hairs dyed pink with pipe smoke in a vogue. No matches are needed to start a fire in Koma. A piece of iron, cotton, struck against a stone knows the magic. Breakfast is served, a produce of a plantation that crisscrosses the village. At the village square, the young and the old converged. Here, a gaze from the crowd of young boys sends a message of hope, but hopelessness lurks around, as the village is yet to get the four walls of a classroom.
We that decided to stay up here, we are facing numerous challenges. We were told that we are under a government, but we are yet to see the dividend, like fertilizer for our farms. We don't get it even if it is allocated to us. Every government palliative does not reach here. We will only hear about it. But we get polio vaccines regularly, that I won't lie. We don't have roads because we are on top of the rock. Our mothers are still using leaves without clothes. We are also facing some diseases like heartburn, cough, ear disease.
Early marriage is still persist, and when expectant mothers face complications, their fate is left in the hands from above. There is no hospital in Koma. When it becomes necessary to go to the hospital with a pregnant woman, then the branches of the next tree are cut to construct a makeshift stretcher, and the treacherous parts on the mountain is the only way down, at least 2 hours to the base of the mountain. There, a motorcycle ends the task.
Okay, sai ta kwanta kai. Sai ta kwanta kai. Wasu su kama nan, wasu kuma su kama nan.
amma kuna da irin itacen a je koko da sai lokacin ya faru sai lokacin ya emergency ke
we have been able, through our collaborations with partners in the Ministry of Rural Development, especially the World Bank, we have been able to partner with them to identify target areas, to be able to bring in resources and ensure that infrastructures are provided. As I'm talking to you, this administration has constructed over 348 kilometer rural roads in Adamawa State, and it's still an ongoing thing. Today we are opening up the place, the entire area, not only Koma, but if you check out the level of infrastructure and the imprint that this administration under the leadership of Right Honorable Abari Pintri has been able to achieve there is much. We have opened up the rural access road to the area, to parts of the area, not strictly Koma. And the entire area up to Tongo, if you check the trajectory of their development before this administration came into being, this Tongo, for instance, was a local government that was established for about over 30 years ago. It remains the only local government, perhaps headquarter in this part of the world, that has remained unconnected to the national grid until we came on board. Today there is light in Tongo. Beyond the Tongo town itself, we have constructed rural roads and within the area. So much is happening, and I believe the story of the area will be changed. We are not unaware of the fact that the entire Adamawa State is in need of development, and especially the rural or deeply rural settings like Koma deserve and requires the attention of the government.
Though the festivals and sacrifices to the gods still hold, we didn't get a treat of that, but a spatial communication system passed on from generation still held sway. The children of Koma have no toys to play with, but the nature of their environment is utilized to have fun. The young boys shine away from nursing their siblings, and these clearly shows a perfect division of labor as the parents take a short break at the farm. The people of Koma dwell on top of the mountain and grow their crops on its slopes. Our journey down the mountain was an eye-opener to the captivating scenes invincible in the blanket of the previous night on our way up.
Making it up and down the mountain of Koma, your heart pumps faster, you must sweat, your feet must become painful. But for the treasures up there, I will do it once again.
When we got to Koma 2, the village where most of those who left the mountain settled, I met Umar, an indigene of Koma Gbagi. We strolled to his house, proudly flaunting the impact of civilization.
Governor Yohana Madaki brought us down here. When he came, he sat down on a small stone. He told us that we are suffering up the hill. We should come down and live a normal life. Some of us came down while others maintained up there because they are yet to get help. What I got as a help was that someone came to me and took me across the country, and that opened my eyes. I later came back here and built my house. Now I'm based here with my family. The difference here is that I can drive a car while those up there cannot.
Mun sauko daga dutse ne. Inda kaga inda muke zauna nan.
We are part of those that came down from the mountain. Where we are now is the place the government allocated for us, which is known as the Koma resettlement. We came down from the Bagi Koma hilltop where you went yesterday. We are part of those who came down when Governor Yohana Madaki went up the hills. We were part of the community leaders that met him. Since we came up there and we were convinced to come down here, since then till now, nothing has been done to better our lives. Nothing has been built. Since 1986, our wives have no hospital to deliver. They are often transported miles to Karlai Hospital, no government hospital, no school, and our children are plenty and do not go to school because there is no school. If we harvest, middlemen will come here and buy it their own price. Because the road is bad with lots of rivers to cross before you get to the market, and the places we cultivate are far away.
I can only speak for this government because I can't speak for the previous government. I believe if there's any neglect in court, as you might assume, as you might have insinuated, it's a neglect that can be consigned to the past. I believe when you go to Koma today, they are not the same Koma people that were so in court said to be discovered. They are no longer working as naked as the picture that was printed in 1985. So much has happened in terms of their civilization, in terms of changing their way of life and their living.
We need to call the corporate bodies and individuals to come to the area and invest. Leaving all the burden to the government cannot complement, because people there, they are the good people. They are also Nigerians. They are part of Nigeria, and they are the good citizens of Nigeria. They love Nigeria. All their tradition is part of Nigerian.
The mountain is not just a pyramid of stones arranged miraculously, but a haven of waterfalls and springs. We finally say goodbye to Koma, and more on the move comes your way in another edition.
Thank you.